Hi, my people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to an exciting reading. Say hello to my cat, Cleopatra. Welcome to an exciting reading. Today, I'm going to be doing a past life reading on Michael Jackson. Now, on this channel, I've done quite a few different readings on Michael Jackson. I've done quite a few psychic tarot readings, of course, mediumship readings as well as I think I've done maybe one or two birth chart readings on Michael. But I've never done a past life reading, and I had just completed a client's past life reading today. And I thought about it and I was like, I've never done a past life reading for YouTube or for like the public or anything like that. It's always like just, behind the scenes, like personal, client past life reading. So I thought it would be really fun to do a past life reading, but like on who would be interesting, in terms of like to hear about their past lives. And I thought, it would be really interesting to hear about Michael Jackson and his past lives. I'm such a Michael Jackson fan, and I thought, it would be really, really cool. Of course, with Michael's permission in spirit, which I did get his permission. And I found some interesting things. I do have the spread pulled already because when I do past life readings, it's a whole thing, especially something on this caliber. This is the first time I've done something or something like this. So when I pull these types of spreads with past life readings, it's very specific, very intricate. I've got to make sure I've got the energy right. So I've got to say a prayer. I've got to cleanse the energy. So I do kind of a whole ritual basically before I pull cards on this, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to show that on camera. But I did pull his cards, and there's some interesting things in here. Some things that make a lot of sense, but then there's some things where I'm like, whoa, didn't expect that at all. So you guys will see here in a second the spread, but I just wanted to say hello to you all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you're new to my channel. Once again, I'm Lamarr Townsend. I'm a psychic, a tarot reader, an astrologer, and a medium. If you would like a personal reading from me, by the way, I am available on my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com. Give me a second to pull that up. All right. Oops. All right, I think I got it where it needs to be. So this is my website. All right, once you've reached this page, you're on the right page. You can scroll down and read reviews from people who have purchased readings from me. You can also follow me down here on my Instagram and Facebook. If you would like your own reading or anything from me in particular, where I do sell many different types of things, services, products, classes. I do offer email readings, video recorded readings where you send your questions and I record myself doing your reading and then email you the video to download and keep. I also offer, of course, phone readings, candles, birth chart readings, individual birth chart readings, compatibility birth chart readings, as well as year ahead transit birth chart readings. I also do offer mediumship readings, past life readings, which we're about to do right now. I also offer merch, handmade evil eye bracelets, stickers. I do have an ebook coming out soon for Patreon, so look out for that. I've also, like I said, got classes, tarot classes, astrology classes, spiritual development classes, and so many different other types of things. And I will be adding new and more things as time goes on. So thank you all so much for your support. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this reading on Michael Jackson and Michael Jackson's past life. So, like I said, I have his spread pulled, and one of the first themes I'm noticing in particular with his spread. Okay, first of all, before I even get into that, let me preface how I do these readings. So, the way I do these readings is when I do past life readings, I'm really tapping into more than one past life. And the purpose of my past life readings, the purpose of my past life readings is to basically explain the culmination, in terms of, your past lives, to explain how you've come to your current lifetime. So, of course, because Michael Jackson has passed, we're just going to basically explain the culmination of his lifetimes, because I'm a believer that we've all lived multiple lifetimes. Um, it's interesting. It's also important to note that when it comes to past life energy, our past lives are really imprinted in our soul or on our soul in our Akashic records. When we think about it, when we pass away, the body becomes inanimated, meaning the body is no longer animated. But it's really the soul and the spirit that animates the body, that gives the body, the flesh, its distinction, its uniqueness, right? Other than the way it looks, right? The way we look. So our Akashic records, our past life memories and imprints and skills and talents and things of this nature and connections, are all imprinted on our soul, right? So just wanted to get that out there. So we're tapping into basically Michael Jackson's soul imprint, his Akashic records. Now you would think because he's Michael Jackson, right, that there would be a lot of creativity cards, a lot of creativity and artist energy. But what I've learned in this, two things I've learned from looking at this spread is he was so much more than an artist, and a creative, and he definitely came to fulfill his purpose. He definitely fulfilled his purpose that he came to fulfill as Michael Jackson. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first card that I get is actually, interestingly enough, the Avenger card. Now, this would be connected to his self-image, how he saw himself, how other people saw him, the first impressions he would have made, possibly. This would have also been connected to how he went about getting what he wanted in the world, how he expressed his raw energy. All right, both in his lifetime as Michael Jackson and his past lives. It says the Avenger, the light attributes of this card are desire to balance the scales of justice. We know that he was very much about justice. All right, he was very much a humanitarian in that way. He constantly called people out, called corporations out. Think, when he called out Tommy Mottola and called Tommy Mottola, or I think Sony or something like that, the devil. Does anyone remember that in the comment section? If you remember that, put it in the comment section. It says also the light attributes of the Avenger are righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. So with Michael Jackson, there was both there. Righteousness on behalf of society and the woes and the disgraces and the negative things that have been bestowed on society then and now. But also all of that was also bestowed on him. We have to remember all that he went through, right? But he wasn't an avenger in his soul imprint, all right? He was an avenger, a vigilante in his past life. And that's where that vigilantiness came from him in his lifetime as Michael Jackson. Think all I really want is they don't really care about us. That's this energy. All right. It's black. It's white. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's his energy. The desire to balance the scales of justice. He constantly sang about that in his songs. Right? So that's who he was in the soul imprint. All right. That's who he was within his soul imprint. He was an avenger, a vigilante, someone who fought for justice in his past life. All right. Someone who wasn't afraid to shake the tables. Like it's kind of like the energy of the people that like stormed the Capitol. Like he could have had that energy within himself. I say that because look at the shadow attribute. Now the shadow attribute of this card are resorting to violence in the name of a cause. So in the past life, Michael Jackson could have been one of those people, as an example. Not saying he was that type of person, but in a past life, he could have possibly gone to that extreme. On a soul level, he could have possibly gone to that extreme. Now, it's said that, in his lifetime as Michael Jackson, he was such a vigilante, such an avenger, such a humanitarian and a voice for the people that maybe that's why they allegedly took him out. Allegedly. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later, all right? But as far as who he was as a person and what he was known for on a soul level, he was always known this way in his lifetimes. Let's read further what this card means. The Avenger. When you think about it, it makes so much sense, really. The Avenger, known also as the Avenging Angel, the Savior, the Messiah. A lot of people saw him as that. All right. It says the Avenger needs to balance the scales of justice, sometimes aggressively, which he did sometimes, even though he was very soft and sweet, you know, by nature. The Avenger pursues war criminals or corporations that harm society. That was him through and through. The Shadow Avenger manifests as resorting to violence, from acts of eco-terrorism to bombing abortion clinics, allegedly. This is what the book says, Sean, not my words. All right. It says for the Avenger to look for a lifelong pattern of defending or representing causes on behalf of others. That's who he was. That's why he truly cared about causes and those types of things. Now, when it comes to his money and his stability and how he made his money, how he spent his money, Saturn shows up, the planet Saturn. Child. Saturn, the father in general. Saturn is literally associated with the father, and we know that his father was a big part of who he was, how he became who he became, Michael Jackson. Meaning that this checks out. Saturn showing up in once again the position of money, how he made his money and finances. The father, as Michael Jackson in his lifetime as Michael Jackson, played a big role in terms of how Michael Jackson made his money. You know, Joe Jackson was, Michael Jackson's coach, mentor. You know, Joe Jackson pushed Michael Jackson to have the work ethic, for the good or the bad, that he had, that made him the Michael Jackson he was when he was alive. So the father was always present in his lifetimes as being a driving force in some way, shape, or form. His lifetime as Michael Jackson was no different. Now, the interesting thing when it comes to Saturn is Saturn can deal with karma, self-discipline, self-control, right? Saturn can deal with isolation, all right? So there's a lot of factors that come into play here. Saturn deals with time. Let's see what the book says about Saturn in particular from Michael, though. But it makes sense as to why his father was such a driving force in his current lifetime, because there's always been an element of father energy or a male role model, a father figure being present within Michael Jackson's lifetimes, past and his present as Michael Jackson, as being a driving force. There's always a father figure behind him in some way, shape, or form. All right, that did not change in his lifetime as Michael Jackson. Let's see. It says Saturn is the guardian of the in-between, the threshold of the material and the spiritual worlds, that which exists between infinity and time and space. Saturn is the planet of restriction, control, discipline, and severity, which it's possible, to some degree that was what was also the cause of maybe the ending of Michael Jackson to some degree. Restriction, control, discipline, severity, right? Being under those circumstances. It says Saturn governs order, self-knowledge, and introspection. As such, it can be very demanding and strict in its energy. All right. When Saturn appears in your cards, its less severe qualities are asking for your attention, most specifically related to order and discipline. Ooh, this makes a lot of sense. Are you allowing aspects of your life to slip away as a result of your current situation? That was a part of Michael Jackson's issue. Once again, he let aspects of his life outside of work, outside of his career, both things that Saturn rules, all right? And it caused him to lose order in other areas of his life, which may have added to the drug addiction. Saturn can deal with addiction, all right? So it may have been his work ethic, the father, that drove him allegedly to addiction in some way, shape, or form. But also, I'm wondering, does the father have some sort of addiction? Is there something with the father as well? There's some dynamic, soul wise, soul contract wise, between Michael Jackson and his father. That there was a lesson meant to be learned between them and money. I'm not sure if they learned it in this lifetime. They may have had some issues with money. All right, together, I mean. This card also says, are you allowing small yet important things, such as cleaning the house, to be ignored in deference to other tasks? Saturn asks you to reorder your life and restore discipline and control in your work, your home, your thoughts, and study. It grants you the will to accomplish tasks. All right. So there's something about Michael Jackson where, yes, he was groomed to create the life for himself that he created, to create the career for himself that he created, but the lesson in that was to learn not to just restore order and balance with everyone else, but with self, for self, which I'm not sure. Of course, only Michael Jackson, and God and his spirits and angels know, the full gamut of whether or not he completed that. But I don't know, Saturn can sometimes deal with karma. There's some karmic energy connected to Michael Jackson in his past lives with his father and money and career energy. I'm going to stick to that. But he was meant to work out in his lifetime as Michael Jackson. Now, speaking of his father, this next card shows up, which will be connected to his young childhood to young adult years. This will be connected to how he communicated, how he processed information, his thoughts. All right. Detective card comes up. Very interesting. It's possible in a past life he was a detective in some way, shape, or form, or may have done detective work, which you kind of see themes of that. Like when I think of how he was dressed, isn't in the Smooth Criminal video where he like they lean over kind of thing? Like he's kind of dressed as a detective with the hat. Go look back at that video. He kind of gives detective vibes, to be honest with you. Like 80s, 90s detective, or like cliche detective. Like it says, the light attributes of this are great powers of observation and intuition, which we know he did have that. He had great powers of observation and intuition. That's why he made such great music. It says, desire to seek out the truth. I think that's what made him so special as a child. He was an intuitive. He was he was observative. What's the word? He was observant. He was intuitive, observant. Thank you, spirit. And he was a child that sought the truth at the end of the day, or he was a child that could see to the truth, through to the truth. I think that's what made him so sensitive as a child. I think he always had that ability as a child. There's something about him as a child and the innocence, and like particularly as a child being like keening in, getting glean insight into the wonders and beauty, but also the darkness and like dread of the world. And that's a lot of energy to take on as a child. So I think for him in his lifetime as Michael Jackson, the way that he dealt with that energy was most likely through music and art. The shadow attributes of this card are voyeurism and falsifying information. Interesting. Huh. I want to go back to Saturn and I want to bring this up. I want to talk about some locations that Saturn would be associated with, because these would be locations past life wise that Michael Jackson may have lived, maybe, or may have been associated with in his past lives. So let's talk about that really quickly. Um, so Saturn, of course, rules the zodiac signs Aquarius and Capricorn. All right. So, so I want to say that the countries that Saturn rules, and maybe that and Michael Jackson has some past life connection too. Some of these I think like he's done videos like in these countries, or he's like visited these countries, or he's had some significant moments in these countries. Like the first one is India. So Saturn rules India. So you may have a past life connection to India. He could have a past life connection to Greece, parts of Persia, Lithuania, Albania, Bulgaria, Mexico, Santa Martha, Oxford, the Orkney Islands. Michael Jackson may have also had a past life connection to Russia, Prussia, parts of Poland, Lithuania again, Lower Sweden, Hamburg, Piedmont, Afghanistan, parts of Asia bordering on Persia, and there may have been a connection to England as well. All right. Very interesting past life connection to those locations. But let's see, let's go now to the detective card and see, let's get some further clarity on that. As a child, he may have had to be a detective to see the truth, particularly if the truth wasn't presented to him, which I don't think it always was. The detective, also known as the spy, the double agent, the sleuth, the snoop. He was nosy, Michael Jackson. He could find out some tea, child. All right. He knew, but that comes from this energy. All right. The detective, also known as Sherlock Holmes, private investigator, the profiler, also the warrior or crime fighter. I think that's what he was on the soul level. He was a crime fighter. The detective seeks out information that supports solving crimes. The detective combines great powers of observation with highly evolved intuition. So he had great intuition throughout his lifetimes, but I think was developed as a young child. All right. Because a young child, he was probably put in situations where he had to be the detective and figure things out once again. Remember, this card shows up in the position of young childhood. The spy or detective is associated with superstitious acquisition of secret information regarding politics, business, or national security. The shadow detective manifests as selling out information to the highest bidder. The detective says, examine your passion for using your powers of observation to get at the truth. I think his powers of observation he put in his music, but it also got him in trouble as well. Now, this next card would be connected to his family, his mother in particular, who we know he was very close with in his lifetime as Michael Jackson. All right. To be connected to his emotional expressions, what he needed in order to feel emotionally secure and safe in the world at large. Netzach, the keyword victory. The Netzach can be thought of as the primal sphere representing passion, eternity, primal instinct, sexuality and sensuality, desire, and endurance. Its opposite is Had, the foundational base of the left pillar. When Netzach appears in your reading, you are asked to meditate upon and examine these energies. This situation may mean that your situation lacks passion, such as the fire that drives a project, or it might mean that instinct is also being ignored. There may have been something where Michael's drive to perform may have come from almost like something dealing with his mother. Something maybe like to make his mother happy or to bring happiness into the home because this position shows up in the home. Like that, and maybe there may have been an inherent connection to Michael Jackson's gift and an ability to make his mother happy. It says, "Has your intuition been talking to you?" We know that he's very intuitive. The mother was intuitive though as well. Catherine's intuitive as well. I think there's something about Catherine though where she maybe doesn't always trust her intuition, and that she may have been groomed that way. Whereas maybe there's also something about Michael and their relationship with one another as Michael Jackson and Catherine, where Michael may have been the lesson in that relationship may have been for Michael. Sometimes our children are our teachers, and I think Michael Jackson was Catherine's teacher. It like I get the energy of if we think of it like Michael Jackson was Peter Pan and Catherine Jackson was Wendy. And I think that's where that love for that Peter Pan and that story and that like I think that's where that love comes from Michael Jackson about that Peter Pan story. It actually deals with his mother and maybe a desire to not grow up to stay young to relive his childhood. You know what I get also his mother him and his mother may have been also siblings in the past life. And there may be something about that story about Peter Pan that like mimics their sibling dynamic in past life that Michael may have recognized on a soul level in his lifetime as Michael. Netzach says if you've not been paying attention to your intuition, if you've not been paying attention to what it's saying, then this card is a reminder that instinct is not only a very important tool for survival, but it's also an essential tool for protection. So there's something actually with where the mom was very intuitive. It says, when instinct speaks, listen, for Netzach lends you the powers to overcome all challenges. And I think as a family, maybe that's the lesson too. Instincts for survival, and how that was passed on as a generational, it could be trauma, but also the family's a pretty strong family, to be honest with you, you know, for all that they've been through. That strength really comes from Catherine, the mother. That's spiritual strength. All right. He comes from a strong spiritual lineage connected to his mother. The next card would be connected to his childhood memories, his purpose in life, his sense of creativity, self expression. Child divine. We know he loved children, for better or worse. All right. We won't get into that too much. But child divine, it says light attributes of the child divine card: innocence, purity, and redemption suggest a special connection with the divine. Michael Jackson had a special connection with the divine, was spiritually evolved as a young child. In today's day and age, we would call them indigo babies or indigo children, galactic children. That was Michael Jackson. All right. But that also comes from his soul imprint. He had a strong soul, a strong understanding of his soul's mission from the get go. All right. The shadow attributes of this card are the inability to defend oneself against negative forces. So, as a child, it's possible that, Michael Jackson may have had some situations that maybe he was preyed upon himself, he was taken advantage of. So, there's a reason why he was so protective of children. Because it's highly possible he had had something happen to him before. I'm going to say whether in his lifetime as Michael Jackson and or in past lives. Sometimes you can't be a special child like this and not go through something. Right? And I'm thinking of the song Heal the World. And now I'm hearing the song We Are the World, We Are the Children. I found this interesting. He got the Han Sha Z Shonen card connected to his work, his job, his daily routine, his approach to his health. Now, this is connected to Reiki, so this tells me that in a past life or past lives wise, he may have a connection to Eastern Asian cultures or studies of such. All right. Or at the very least, there may have been a deep connection to the study of Reiki in his past lives, Buddhism, these types of things. Which I wonder, did he study in his lifetime as Michael Jackson? I know he grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, which makes a lot of sense because spirituality does seem to be a basis for him just on a soul level, and it's going to always show up in different forms and different lifetimes. Let's see what Han Sha Z Shonen means. First of all, I want to get into the history of Reiki. All right. Reiki is Japanese in origin. So this tells me that Michael Jackson may also have a past life connection to Japan or Japanese culture as well. Reiki is Japanese in origin, translated roughly to mean spiritually guided universe life healing. It is a system of healing through touch that was discovered in the late 1800s by Dr. Makao Usu, considered the founder of Reiki. So Reiki is actually from the 1800s. All right. So let's see what Hanshazi Shonen means. Hanshazi Shonen, this symbol given during Reiki 2, is referred to as the distance healing symbol and is the third traditional symbol in Reiki. This tells me that his work that he did as Michael Jackson was healing. There's something where Michael Jackson on a soul level has always had a healing soul, a healing spirit, whether he healed with his hands. He may have been a Reiki master at some point in his past lives. He may have been a master of his hands, a master of healing with his hands, which in a weird way may have shown up in the form of dance and using maybe his hands a lot, particularly when it comes to dance. It says Hanshazi Shonen roughly means may the Buddha in me connect to the Buddha in you to promote harmony and peace. And that's what he did through his work. The Buddha in Michael was transmuted to the Buddha in others, his fans, his watchers, his lovers, his supporters. His music, his performances were healing. That's what this card is about. All right. And that's how he perfected that energy in his lifetime as Michael Jackson. This is beautiful. Remember earlier I mentioned Buddhism. So it's also possible that he highly may have had a past life connection to Buddhism as well. Wonder if he was also like a Buddhist or a studier of that in his lifetime as Michael Jackson. Definitely would have been like a past life, or like I'm gonna have to go back and look back at his imagery because I remember when he did that Martin Bashir documentary. And do you guys remember where he was like showing all his statues and stuff? I'm gonna have to go back and see if he has any like Hindu statues or Buddha statues or anything like that, because he would have been connecting to that this past life energy here. Hanshazi Shonin possesses the ability to travel not simply over physical distances with its healing energy, but also throughout time and space. So he's still healing even though he's not physically here. When Hanshazi Shonin appears in your reading, the situation you are inquiring about may be blocked or hindered due to past issue, trauma, or pain. Invoke the Reiki energies in this distance healing symbol through chanting it, drawing it, or visualizing it and asking it to heal the root of the situation. This card asks you to examine the true underlying cause of friction. This requires looking past the surface and the superficial. It requires digging through the multiple layers of the situation in order to determine its root cause and in turn help to heal and resolve it. So really his job was to heal himself, and through healing himself, he healed others. Music creating was healing for him as Michael Jackson. But I get the energy he was also healing and working through some past life trauma as well, which I think is why a lot of the things he went through didn't make sense to us. All right, looking from the outside in. Get the warrior card. The warrior card connected to one-on-one relationships, business partnerships. He was a fierce protector of those he loved. All right. It says warrior, and this is also would be his love language as well. He was a fierce protector. And I think his lifetimes go back eons. He was an old soul. I'd be interested to actually know what his south node would be in. Wonder if it was in Capricorn or Aquarius, maybe. Alright, it says warrior, light attributes, strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. The shadow attributes of this card are trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. I think, yeah, he could be, I think of like when he took Paul McCartney, the Beatles catalog from Paul McCartney. This is that energy of getting what he wants at all costs. Securing what he needs for others at all costs. Right? I think at some point he was actually a warrior. I think Michael Jackson has been a warrior. I think he's been he's lived lifetimes as in war. As a warrior in that way. I think that's also where that military get up comes from. See what warrior means in the book. Get some further clarity. Oh, listen to this. Warrior, also known as a soldier, crime fighter, that came out earlier. Amazon, mercenary, gunslinger, samurai. A lot of these themes showed up in his music and his artistry, his videos. The warrior represents physical strength and the ability to protect and fight for your rights. The warrior is linked to it. I think he was like this for other people, so he expected and wanted this from others as well in his personal life. The warrior is linked to invincibility, loyalty, and the passage from boyhood to manhood. Can also be female. I do think he's lived lifetimes as female as well. I think that's where that androgynous comes from, the long hair and the androgyny that kind of exuded throughout his career, especially as he got older. I think if he had maybe had his peak later, like in the 90s or 2000s, I feel like he would have played more with his androgynous side, maybe similar to Prince. But of course, he grew his circumstances. He grew up Jehovah's Witness and all these types of things. A warrior can also be female, as in the legendary Amazon tribe of warrior women, with whom he could have a connection, and has emerged once again through women who liberate and protect others who need representation. Mercenary and soldier of fortune are various on the hired killer who sells his power with complete disregard for the cause. Gunslinger and samurai appeal to your fantasies of independence and self-defense, yet they also carry the historic weight of predatory evil. I think he was preyed on. In their favorable aspect, they all warn you when you're in danger of aligning your might with an unjust or purely self-interested cause. The spiritual warrior, pioneered by Dan Millman, Chogyam Trungpa, In others, directs you to the classic warrior virtues of heroism, stoicism, and self sacrifice for conquering the ego and gaining control of the inner realm. Shadow warriors distorts or abandons ethical principles in the name of victory at any cost. This card says, look for a lifetime commitment to courageous battle whenever and wherever necessary. He was constantly in battle in his relationships. All right. Constantly either having to be a warrior for someone else or having to be a warrior for himself or both. It's like the fight never stopped. I think that's why he turned to drugs. It just becomes exhausting fighting, defending all the time. Who can you trust? Right? This would be connected to his death. And this is interesting. This would be connected to death, evolution, growth, change, endings in his life, loss. How he reacted to these types of situations. Capricorn is connected to the father once again. Death due to the father. I said that earlier. People wonder who it was that killed Michael. They look at what's his name. Who's the doctor again? Doctor whatever his name is. Might want to look at the father. Now, of course, this could also be over a period of time as well, right? Let's see. Capricorn. The symbol of Capricorn is the goat. Its traditional dates are December 22nd to January 19th. Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn and represents stoicism, strength of will, practicality, and determination. When Capricorn appears in your reading, it means that you must be the one to initiate an action that seeks security within the world or social order. So he was a sacrifice for the father. Michael was the sacrifice for the father so the father could gain wealth and riches. Abuse of the child. Abuse of the innocence. Past life connection with the father. Past life karma with the father. The father is ever present in this past life reading. This card can also mean to beware of willfulness to the point of fault. If you have been in an argument or are in the wrong, it may be time to let go of your stubbornness and apologize. He may have had issues apologizing, Michael. He definitely could have been stubborn. It says, be aware of your limitations and do not let inflexibility rule your decisions or your thoughts. It's in the shadow that we can find light and truth. Capricorn is connected to career, professional destiny, status, and society. Capricorn is also connected to long-term health. Remember how this card was speaking of, creating balance and order in your life and maintaining balance and order in all aspects of your life? And how I was saying Michael didn't do that? Well, that's what led to his death as Michael. He was so focused on his career, once again, the father as the driving force, that he neglected his health, his long-term health. All right? He neglected, maintaining order in other areas of his life. How did he deal with loss? He may have just, driven himself to more work, more isolation, more addiction, all things that can be associated with Capricorn. When the father could have been the biggest trauma. Now I'm wondering, what is Joe Jackson's relationship with his father? That's never really been explored. This one really shocked me. The prostitute card comes out. At some point, Michael Jackson in a past life, believe it or not, child, was a prostitute. I feel like more so as a female. All right. And I did say he's probably lived past lives as a female. This would be connected to his opinions, his beliefs, his sense of self-expression, or his sense of freedom, open-mindedness. This would be connected to his sense of higher education and higher learning. All right. The light attributes of this card are accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And that's a word that keeps showing up in this past life reading is surviving. The shadow attributes of this card, let me read that one more time. Accentuates the challenges of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. How do you think maybe this showed up in his lifetime as Michael Jackson? Was he tempted to do certain things with money? I don't know why, as I say that, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Pepsi commercial where he got his hair burnt. The shadow attributes of this card are places material consideration and security above self-empowerment. There's different ways to be a prostitute. And it doesn't always involve you laying down on your back. All right. Let's see what this card means. A prostitute engages lessons in the sale or negotiation of your integrity or spirit based on fears of physical and material survival or for financial gain. The prostitute activates aspects of the unconscious related to seduction and control. He did have a very seductive way about him. The crotch grab, the thrusting. Should be understood as the selling or selling out of talents, ideas, and any other expression of the self. Core learning relates to the need to birth and refine self-esteem and self-respect. That probably relates to his physical appearance and the changing surgeries and stuff like that. The shadow attributes of this card are assesses all transactions only in terms of how they will profit you, not what they will cost you spiritually. Child. What temptations did he go through as Michael Jackson? What things did he need to do to break free? Or to gain freedom or some sense of freedom or what he thought maybe was freedom? Now, I found this interesting. The Hand of Fatima comes out. This would be connected to his career, professional destiny, status in society. Once again, would be related to his relationship with his father's side of the family. It's also will be connected to Michael's long-term health, the Hand of Fatima. This is an ancient symbol, which once again, I remember I was saying Michael has, I feel like Michael not only has an old soul, I feel like Michael really has an ancient soul. Michael was an ancient soul. Within the Hand of Fatima or the Hamsa hand sits the all-seeing eye, which may make you think of darkness or evil. However, this card represents quite the opposite. The Hand of Fatima, named after the Prophet Muhammad's daughter Fatima. So there may be a connection to that, maybe, or that culture as well. Um, that is behind the Hand of Fatima. Is it Islam or like is it Hand of Fatima origins? Tunisia. Is the Hand of Fatima Hindu? It's known as the Hand of Fatima in Islam and Judaism. Okay, so he may have a connection to Islam or to any whatever places are connected to the Hand of Fatima. Um, The Hand of Fatima was a powerful talisman used to block the path of evil and stand as a symbol of peace and hope. So, really, in a weird way, Michael Jackson's father was a lesson for Michael Jackson. Was like, you know how they say final boss, like in a video game? Like, Joe Jackson was Michael Jackson's final boss up until the end. Um, when this card appears in your reading, the Hand of Fatima, it indicates that you are receiving protection from the divine in your current venture. But he was protected from his father spiritually. I think that's how he got out. Once again, Michael had a bigger purpose, and Spirit knew that. Have you recently applied for a new job? Do you have an interview? Trust in the power of the Hand of Fatima, for the fates are telling you that you have the support of the divine behind you in this venture. Have faith you will succeed. But I think there's something about the father took the role of this position of being the one to give him that drive, to give him the spirit of you will succeed, when really the whole time it was Spirit guiding Michael and pushing him. But it's almost like Joe Jackson, Michael's father, made himself the god, or you can't do this without me. When the whole time Michael has always been spiritually connected, he would have succeeded anyway. Mentor. This is connected to his sense of humanitarianism. All right. His friends, his connection to his friends, acquaintances. So he's actually a mentor to a lot of people in his close life. He may have always been this way as well, once again. This will be connected to his sense of inventiveness. It says the latter attributes are passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. He was a mentor to a lot of people. He still is. People still look up to him for many different reasons, right? Shadow attributes of this are inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master, imparting false instruction. All right, let's see what the mentor, what does that mean for him? The mentor, also known as the master, the counselor, the tutor, the teacher. The mentor, based on the character in the Odyssey, to whom Odysseus entrusted the care of his house and the education of his son. The mentor is the trusted teacher and guide in many forms of art, business, and spiritual practice. I think this is relating to when he would have a lot of those children over. And then, of course, there was a situation where the children alleged that they were, allegedly abused, but really there may have been an energy with that where Michael was meant to be a mentor to those children. Um, the mentor passes on wisdom and refines the student's character. The shadow mentor is more concerned with imposing control than imparting wisdom, and doesn't allow the student to move on to the role of master. This card can also mean ask yourself if you've shown a lifelong pattern of taking individual students under your wing and guiding many aspects of their lives. So you know what was happening with Michael Jackson and those children. There may have been an aspect of Joe Jackson, the inner Joe Jackson coming out in Michael Jackson associated with those children in some way. And that could have shown up in many different forms because who was Joe Jackson? Joe Jackson was a mentor to Michael. And so the way we are mentored, just the way we are mothered or fathered, we go on, unless we're conscious and aware and do the inner introspection, we go on to mentor, father, mother, other people the same way or similar ways. All right. Last card is Say He Ki. This will be connected to his connection to the spiritual realm, his strengths and weaknesses. All right. This will be connected to his healing energy, his ability to heal, his artistry. Say He Ki. Once again connected to Reiki. Excuse me. All right, it says Seihi Ki. This is considered to be the second symbol in the traditional Reiki, given during the second degree and viewed as the mental and emotional symbol. Translated, Seihi Ki means roughly divine and humanity become one. So this tells me he's still working on the other side. He's still doing work on the other side in the spirit. It says it is most often used, Seihi Ki is often used when there's an emotional release needed or a buildup of emotion in a receptant. So one of his weaknesses was his emotions. And maybe his inability to sometimes deal with his emotions, to manage his emotions in a healthy way. Drawing Seihi Ki, imagining it or chanting it 3 times can invoke its power. When this symbol appears in your reading, emotional release is being indicated. Have you been bottling your feelings? Which I think he had a potential to do that. Is it out of fear, which probably was fear for many different reasons? Are you bottling your feelings out of fear or because of pain? Both probably for Michael. The gentle, soothing energy of Seihi Ki tells you that release is okay and that it is there to help guide and let it go if you need help. This emotional release is necessary not only to maintain health and well-being, but also to help you clear and balance the emotional blockage that is attached, whatever the situation may be. Seihi Ki is a gentle, guiding hand to help you clear and release. And I'm wondering, did he ever get to do that? Did he ever get to really clear and release his emotional trauma as Michael Jackson? I don't think he did. Particularly with the way he was managing himself and his emotions towards the end. You know, he was taking the propofol just to sleep. He was really skinny, right? I'm wondering if he was still tied into this energy towards the end of his life. Is that what was going on? And is that also how they got him as well? Remember, prostitute can be many different forms. Child, oh my God, this is in all due respect to Michael Jackson. This was a really deep reading, but I felt like I had to do it. I had to come on. I can't believe how long this reading is, but it's a juicy one. It's a good one. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you want your own past life reading, it'll be very, very similar to this reading that you just saw. You just enjoyed and watched. So definitely get your past life reading. I also do mediumship readings, candles, classes, and so much more. So if you would be interested in any of those things, then definitely please check out my website, lamartownsendtarot.com. I will catch you all in the next video. I'll see you all in your own personal reading. Either way, I will see you soon. Love and light. God bless.
Psychic with a T, the psychic with the T, that's me, that's me. The one with the T, the one with the T, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me. I don't care what the others say, let's channel some energy today. I don't care what the others say, let's channel some energy today. Capricorn, Virgo, Libra strong, this tarot card reading about to be long. Capricorn, Virgo, Libra strong, this tarot card reading about to be long. Psychic with a T, the psychic with a T, that's me, that's me. The one with the T, the one with the T, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me.